The girl who's doing OnlyFans, these men are not going to come to your funeral.
Because of the common cold, you're not allowed to leave your house, for example. We're going to put you out of business and they wreck you.
Whether you're taking money or you're accepting gifts, it's like prostitution.
Yeah, the same women who think empowerment is showing my ass and breasts, getting a Chanel bag and holding a champagne glass on a private jet. I'm empowerment. That's not empowering. For me, that is prostitution, like you say. Have you ever seen an issue with him? I want to know, as a woman. Now you're on the camera. This is going to go out.
Go on, tell the world I'm horrible.
You're going to both have your opportunity.
They've indoctrinated women into thinking that freedom comes from expression of sexual liberation,
100%.
but that only makes you a commodity for men. They think that the world should think the way they think. It's no different to racism.
So let's have your opinions on this man. Andrew Tate. It's a pleasure. This is a first for me, having two ladies sit in this podcast room. I'm new to this. I usually have MMA fighters, boxers, Andrew Tate, personal trainers, but why this is important for me to have you two ladies here, purely because I think it's about time women also have a platform. And they do, I think, in life, but I don't think they choose to want to talk. I think they shy away, maybe peer pressure, maybe they say the wrong thing. And I think society in a way now outlaws that, where women are afraid to say, well, we agree with the old ways of life or whatever it may be. So an easier way, I'm not here to do introductions. I'm not as educated as some of you here. So I want to introduce just to my followers and viewers your names and what you do for a living. So first, let's start with Lubna over here. Please explain to us, my other guests, what you do and what you're known for in Dubai.
So I'm a business journalist. I think I'm known for pissing off a lot of corporates and businesses. So I do a lot of investigative journalism. I have my own new magazine now. I worked at Arabian Business for about 7 years. And now I just launched my own magazine, Frankly Magazine. And we have our weekly podcast, Behind Closed Doors.
Actually, a very good podcast. I was a guest on there a little under a month ago. It was superb. You're gonna stay tuned. We're gonna post that before this comes out, and we'll put all the links of both the ladies' socials and everything in the bio. So, Lubna, why do you piss people off? In what way? What do you mean by that? As in?
Well, I just do a lot of investigative journalism, and I'm also just very opinionated. So I guess I call businesses out when they do something wrong. And we were just talking about a really interesting topic the other day. This Saudi company put out an ad for Emiratis to hire them as sandwich makers.
Oh, wow.
So obviously the Emirati community got very pissed off about that. And it started a huge debate. So I wrote the story, and then it even went to the authorities, and the authorities opened an investigation into the company.
Oh, wow.
Right, so everyone close the gym today, because Lubna might see something she doesn't like, and I might be shut down. Sadia, over to you. Can you just introduce yourself to us and Lubna herself?
Yeah.
And just to be honest, guys, this is fresh. They don't know each other.
Yeah.
We've not rehearsed. There's no questions, and that's how I want to do it, just for you guys. So it's real. So please.
So I'm Sadia. I was formerly a psychology teacher. I taught in London and Dubai. And so I'm a psychologist by trade. And then just recently, about a year or two ago, that I started doing more therapy online. And so now I kind of just do a lot of couples counseling, more just therapy in general. And I kind of do a lot of stuff on social media, just kind of trying to normalize therapy for people who wouldn't normally be open to therapy. I know you don't really like the idea. We're going to talk about this. He doesn't really love the idea of therapy, but the goal is to kind of make people who wouldn't normally go for therapy to kind of be a little bit more open to the idea if I make it in little snippets that are slightly more relatable. And so that's what I predominantly do on social media and on YouTube and stuff like that.
That's interesting, because I see you on social media a lot.
Yeah.
And I think social media is a key. I was speaking to Lubna before on her podcast. Like, she herself has a great message, and I think I'm a father of two girls, as you know, and I said, there's no role models or women there. I can see who they aspire to be, who I'd like them to aspire to be.
Yeah.
No intellects, okay,
They're too busy being influencers, I think.
influencers or getting likes and views, or, sorry to say, shaking ass or OnlyFans.
Yeah.
You're free to do what you want, no problem. But who can girls aspire to? So when people get on the whole train, oh, you've got these Andrew Tates, or you've got these Trumps, or whatever, or Vladimir Putin's, but I mean, it's better than drug dealers. It's better than people used to worship. You watch Narcos, we love it, but people are worshipping Pablo Escobar. I mean, so you don't mind that, but you want to go against the guys speaking about politics or strengthening men. But I think
that was one of my motivations for going on social media. I just got so bored of seeing beautiful women, absolutely stunning women, but not even knowing what they sound like. I didn't have a clue what they think, what they might be thinking about any issue. So it kind of made women a bit dehumanized. I have no idea what women are thinking. I just know what they're looking like. So I thought, let me try a way of introducing the idea that women do have opinions. Women are opinionated, they are intelligent, and you can have conversations with them rather than just staring at them. And I just want to kind of push women away from that, even though I can see the allure. I can see why women go down that route, because there's so much money to be made, but it's just not it's not sustainable.
But then you can't be mad at the men, right, for judging these women, because you are dehumanizing yourself. I feel so, and I just feel we've just become really champions of victimizing ourselves. You know what I mean?
I truly I totally agree with that. I mean, like you said, a lot of women will say, oh, he's doing that, he's a misogynist, or she's portraying this, but then do something about it. Let's speak. Why do you think women or influencers are afraid to say what they feel? Like, I know you're not. Like, that's hence why we touch base, because as people know, I brought Andrew Tate into the UAE a few months back to do a talk. It wasn't cancelled as per se. We had made a decision not to do the talk purely of the respect of the country.
Right.
I didn't want the Western media to say, oh, a misogynist in a country which promotes this and that. So I thought, as a respect to the country which has done so good for me, let's delay and let's warm him to the people. But Lubna was the only people who, she wrote an article in Frankly magazine, a very good article. She's reached out since day one, and it's not whether she supports or not. She's about letting people speak the truth and having a say, and also she sees this whole kind of like agenda in a way. I mean, what was your view on that whole scenario and what was going on with the Tate train?
I think, first of all, the problem with a lot of Arab women, I'm going to talk about Arab women first and foremost, they're really trying to have this Western kind of lifestyle, you know what I mean? They see it in the movies, and I understand, because you're consuming it all the time, music videos, Netflix, this and that. They've become really confused, because they're like, well, I want to have a good husband, I want to get married, I want to have a family, but then you're out in the club, you're posting, thirst traps, whatever, bikini shots on Instagram. Nobody's gonna take you seriously if you are doing it. So I feel at the same time, they're going away from their traditions, their values, their family, and focusing on things that really don't matter in the long run. You know what I mean? You can go to the club, you can have fun, but what is it actually doing? It's actually doing more damage to you than good. You know what I mean? So I think we really have a generation of very confused girls. Like, oh, I didn't have my freedom for so long, we didn't have rights for so long, so now I just want to do anything and everything I want.
There's no limit.
Because the men were doing it, so now we have to do it too. No, we don't really have to do it, because it's doing more damage to us. Like, if I post a bikini picture of myself on Instagram, who's really enjoying this bikini picture? Am I gonna be like, oh, I feel so good about myself? Well, if you feel good about yourself, you don't need to post it for old creeps to be looking at your bikini pictures, you know what I mean? So I just feel like they're confused overall, and they're focusing a lot on looks and not doing anything with their lives. Influencers.
Yeah, they've indoctrinated women, and they've done it really smart. They've indoctrinated women into thinking that freedom comes from expression of sexual liberation,
100%.
but that only makes you a commodity for men. That you're actually becoming more oppressed in the process, because if I'm there making a living out of my body, essentially my consumers are men. I have to meet a man's standard. Right now I don't make, or never, inshallah never, but I don't make a living from my body. So therefore I have the freedom to look how I want to look. But if I had an OnlyFans, or if I was out posting thirst traps, I would have to bear in mind a man's preference with every decision I make. Clothes, makeup, body, BBLs, all of this stuff. I would have to think, what do men like? And I'd have to cater to that. So this freedom, this illusion of freedom, is actually just making you far more oppressed to male dominance, and you become a product of male preferences, and it's more embarrassing than anything. It's the opposite of liberating. And what I always say to people who kind of suggest that the East is oppressed and stuff, and I said, but measure life satisfaction. Who's happier, the girl that's got an OnlyFans or doing porn, or the woman who's living in Kashmir, where I'm from, with her kids and family and has a purpose? The girl who's doing OnlyFans, these men are not going to come to your funeral.